So let's get started. The first thing that I want to do for the application is, well, we need to start for something. So let's use our start template that we used the last time. Since then, I've been adding a couple of things and updated dependencies, so it's up to date actually, and it's really good. So let me just, in case, let me just refresh it, and let me use it to play, and I will create movies database. Let's call this. In my case, I already have some movie database, so I need to change the name. You can leave movie database. Spring 2021. Right? So when I create it, perfect. And let me just clone it. Oops. Let me put this to the right now. So let's probably, I can add it to another page. Let's put it there. CD, MoviesDB, Spring 2021. Let's do npm install all the dependencies. Let's open it in Visual Studio Code. And meanwhile, let's actually do npm run that. Okay, now it is running. Let's see it. Localhost 3000. We have the hello there. I have the just tracking the mouse. So just to have because I added something extra there. Yes, we have the application running right now. So let's continue with this. So the first thing that we need to be doing is we need to personalize the application. So for that, we need to go to the package.json, and it will change from view3 template to the MoviesDB project. The rest will stay the same for now. Something extra that we need to do. We go to the index.html. Let's change this to MoviesDB. Let's change the favicon. I don't want to use the cool one. Let's actually use another one. And I had another folder, so let me just copy. Give me a second. Okay, I have this one over here. I took this one from Flyer Icon, so we need to actually put the source material. They actually asking you to do that. So let me just delete this one from here. Let me go to my index.html. Movie database. This one should be video dash layer. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I believe this should be enough for the personalization. We change the name, you change that one. Let's commit everything. Mission project setup. Perfect. Now, so we have that. Let's start working with the content. So as you remember, I already have my alias for the response. I have my components that's going to be automatically imported that are in the component folder. And I'm also importing automatically all the icons from the view icons thing. And I have a new called bit font. Let's actually go and take one family from Google, and it's the one that make it as a major application right now. I would keep Nuniro. I like it somehow. I don't know why, but I like it that one. And I specify here that I have that one. I have my transparent color. I added because it was missing. Over that, I added the JIT mode. It's a little bit faster to work. And I added some extra plugins for word typography like Glam Aspect Ratio. I don't know if we're going to use all of them, but for now, it's already set up, right? So it's what we have in the application. So let's go to the main one. Let's actually get rid of this. And let's get rid of this for now. And let's get rid of this. Let's keep actually just the title for now. Okay, yeah, we have the hello there. Perfect. No, actually, let's get rid of all of this. And we're going to call our navbar. We're going to call our home. And we're going to call the footer. Alright. Those ones doesn't exist, so we need to create them. So let's go to source. Let's create a new folder called component. And let's create a new file. Going to be navbar.view. Let's have a template. And let's call this just navbar for now. Let's create a new one called home. Let's create another one called footer. And we should be able to see them. Let me check. Oh, they are not there somehow. We have the navbar, the home, and the footer. Perfect. That means that we are actually importing the 3 different files that we need. So let's start working with the navbar to make it look a little bit more appealing. So let me just create another window. Let me send that one over there. There you go. So let's start working with the navbar. And I will try to use the one that I already had, but we can actually move a little faster here. So the first thing that we need is actually have our nav point. And inside we have, let's call this to be class background cool gray 900. I want that one to be a little bit darker. So for the index, for the main one, we're actually using cool grade 800, so the number will be just a little bit darker, and it's going to be here pretty much at the top. And then we have another div, and this div will have something with the logo over here, right? And we have another div with the login button, pretty much. It will be more or less what I want to do. Yeah, we have that one right there. Let's make this div to be a container. And let's do flex item center, justify between, so we can actually add a space in the middle. Let's do MX auto. So it's going to be centered. There you go. We have the login on the left, sorry, the logo on the left and the login on the right, and we have that little space over there. Perfect. So for logo, we're going to have an image, and we can actually use I found one of the icons to actually print it. So you look for the Noro, look video cassette. I like that one. And we need another one. Let's call a paragraph. Go to the movies, and then we have a span database. Oops. This will be your logo. Perfect. So let's make this logo to look a little bit better. So at the beginning, this should be a class of flex item center, and let's add a little space on the x axis of 4. Okay. Let's make this one to be byte 16, x16. Okay. And let's make the paragraphs to be bigger. So let's do text for Excel. Tracking wider so we have more space between the text. Let's see. Okay. I like it. Let's make this to be, let's make the text transparent. And I will show you why in a minute. And let's do the font extra light. We do the background clip text. Okay. And then we have the background clip text. We can actually do, let's do for now just a simple background red 500. Okay, we can actually see that now. So the clip text and the text transparent allowed us to actually have the background of the color as part of the text by itself, let's say it like that. Let's make DB to be a little more bolder, so that means that this one should be class font bold. Oh, okay, I like it. And instead of doing actually a background red, let's do a background gradient. Gradient to right. And let's do it from purple 400 via pink 400. Let's actually make this pink. And we need to finish it too. Actually make this 500. And we need to finish this to red 500. So what is that? And that came actually for the toggle documentation, is to have that little cool color like this. Okay, pretty. So we have those there. And the next will be actually the button. So here we need to have actually this div is what we need to have here. Let's just have a button for now. And the button should say login. And this button, select the class. And let me just copy those classes right now. So what we're telling is we are in the padding X and Y, making the fold 7 volt. The button is going to be green and it's going to be like a peel, like a rounded fold. Whenever we focus the button, it will change the ring to be green, a little more harder, so you have like a darker green as a ring around, and it have a little thicker versus size 4. And the official outline is going to be disabled, so because we're actually applying the ring green. And the text is going to be cool gray 100, and we hover over, we make it a little bit darker, but not as darker as the ring. In other words, we have the button like this, and when it's hover over or when it's in focus, you can actually see that little ring that we have there. Yeah. So with that, I believe we have almost the layout for the login. Let's create another element here that I want to have, and that one will be just before this one. It will be a div element. So probably I can grab this out in a div element too. Oops. And here I want to do is actually a paragraph to welcome username, and we have another button for the logout. But instead of putting the green is going to be red. Let's change all the green areas for that button to red. There you go. Welcome username and logout and the login. Okay, so we need to change a couple of things here. So this div should be actually class flex item center and another space x4. Okay, my welcome message should be class, let's just call the text color text cool gray 200 probably. Okay, yes, and there. So let's actually do a simple script setup, and let's do, oops, let's import from view the reference, and let's do const is authenticated equal reference of false, and let's call const login or let's actually call it sign in, and this should be const actually. Let's have the sign in. Right now we're doing a fake one. We want to use Firebase at the end. So the sign in, what I want to do first is authenticated.value equal true, right? And probably actually let's do it like this. Let's put it const user equal reference, and let's do it something like an empty string, and let's declare that one, and let's do user.value equal, or so we can actually call here user for now. Okay, and let's call another one calls sign out. I want to be pretty much similar to this, but it should change to false, and we need to empty out the user. The logout button, whenever we click it, is going to be called the sign out. The login button, whenever we click it, do the sign in. Okay, and then why we have it like that? Okay, we have those. What I'm going to do now, do the logic, show this when I'm not authenticated, I show this when it's authenticated. So the way to do it is we go to this first one, and we do a simple if. Oops. And we do not is authenticated. I don't know if I call it the same name. There you go. And this other div should be a simple BLs. Okay. Oh, the other way around. If I'm authenticated, I need to show my name, I need to show the sign out. If not, I need to show the sign in. Okay, when I click it, I'm logging in, welcome Rodolfo, and we have those right there. Okay. So we just fake it, the login section. We're going to get back and do the Firebase connection at the end. Okay. Cool. So I believe we have the navbar done. Let's actually do it. Navbar layout. Let's work now with the footer. Probably going to be the fastest one to do. What I want to do with the footer is something just a little bit interesting. This icon we have here, I took it from 5 icons, so I need to make the reference for where I took it because the page asked me to do that. Because we're going to be using the API from the movie database, and I will show you that in the video how to consume the API. That will be pretty much the next one actually. I want to add the reference that we're actually using that, and so I want to use the footer for the reference for this 5 icon and the reference on the movie database. So for the movie database, I actually already have a file, and let me just copy it over. I have it right here, so let me just create a new directory called assets, and from my asset directory we just copy move one that file, and it's an SSVG, so we will see it like this for now. What is it? The movie database logo, pretty much. Okay, and let me just go to my footer, and this will be actually fast. There you go. So for the footer, I just create a footer class, and I make it again background color gray, the same gray as we have on the top bar, and we actually telling it something happened with this logo. Okay, so let's say that. So I have that div, right? It's the same, and then we have another div with the container with the MX auto, so it's going to be like contained, and we can see it right here. And with flex item center, justify between, that means to push something to the left, another to the right, and with some extra padding in there. And then on the left side, I have this div, and I just have the 5 icon made by this person. This actually came from the website from Flat Icon, so just copy over here. And on the right, I just send in the logo. The way to import the logo is we're making the reference an import in our where is that logo actually deployed, and it's in my source directory, assets tmdb svg. Yeah, it's that one. And then I save it over here. So when I do the image, I do a dynamic because I take in URL and you put it there. That way, I'm just making it possible to import an image from my assets directory. So just that is not working the way they're supposed to. Let me just close my server, run it again. Let's see if this gets reflected. There you go. We have the logo right there. And we have this text over here. Yeah, that's pretty much. Let's actually change this to be cool gray 200. So you know that dark white. Perfect. Probably we can actually the two anchor that will make those to be class text red. Let's do a 400 maybe. Oops. 400. There you go. So we had yeah, it looks a little bit like that. Can we do 500? So I believe the colors that we actually finished it. Yeah. A icon by this person from this site. Perfect. And the movie database logo on the right. It's a simple footer, not much to add here. So let me put those on footer layout. So now, before I continue with home, let's actually implement Firebase. Yeah, let's do Firebase for now. So let me actually go to my Firebase console. And I already have a movie database, so let me call it, you know what, new movies DB. I will enable those for now. You can skip that last section, doesn't matter, it's just for measure different pieces. So we need to wait for that to be created. Okay, and we just click continue. So the first thing that we need to do for now is for the authentication piece, we need to get started. And we need to enable the Gmail authentication. I will not use the email password, just go right away to Gmail. So let's enable this. Movies DB, let's put it like a project fully facing name. Let's choose my email. Save it. And something really important before we deploy it, I know that's going to be the last video, the deployment. Let's wait for that to be actually integrated. We need to add the domain, and in my case, I will add it in movies database.rodolforoman.nyc. Use whatever domain that you're going to use for your application. Okay, cool. So I go to my project overview. I will create a new app. So let's call it web app. And we register it. and that will let us, so we'll take pretty much just this section and we go to the console and we keep that there for now. Oops, let me refresh it. Okay, my web app is there. Okay, so let me just get it over here. I will create a new folder. Let's call this folder config. And inside that folder, let's create a new file called Firebase.javascript. And let's do export const that configuration. Right? Before we proceed, as you can see, it gets tracked through GitHub. We should not be tracking this. So let's actually go to the git ignore. It's somewhere there. And let's say that everything inside the config, it should be omitted. Perfect. Now that we have that, let's create a simple, let's create a new folder for helpers. And inside that folder, let's actually use Firebase. So this is going to be simple enough. Let's just use the section for the authentication piece. So we're going to import Firebase, use out with the view use Firebase and the Firebase authentication. And I believe I need, do I need to install it? Then probably. Yeah, we need to install those. So let me just open my terminal, and we can use a simple npm install, and we do Firebase, and we do add you use / Firebase. Enter. Perfect. All those are there. Let me just close this for now. Let me go to my use Firebase. Okay. So we're using the UI out and the Firebase authentication. Now you can see the sizing. That means that it's installed. So we just need to import the configuration from my config Firebase, and we're going to initialize that. And we're going to import the authentication piece. From the authentication, we are going to extract the Google provider, and we're going to extract the it's authenticated and the user from the use out. So those are going to be the or reference or reactive information to see if this is true or false, with the user information right here. And we're going to export something really fast, really quick. And we're going to export our authentication method as a function, and inside we have the Google pop-up or the sign-in. Let's actually call this sign-in. We're going to, it's a simple pop-up from Google, the sign out, the simple authentication sign out method, and we are exporting the authenticator and the user in the authentication piece of use Firebase. So selling that, let's actually try it in our navbar. So in our navbar, what we need to do here is, instead of actually having that fake process over here, let's actually get rid of all this, and we just need to do this one. We import the authentication, and for the authentication we just use or extract the different pieces, and this doesn't exist. It's called sign in now. Okay, so the only things that we need to do is that the user, we actually calling it user dot display name. There you go. And that should be it, because we already have the sign in, the sign out, and then it's authenticated the same names. So with that, we can actually be able to go to login, you go through the process. I select my account, and detect me, and get my name. Perfect. With that simple step, I added my Firebase authentication. So I can actually have another component now, or let's call that component empty home. Empty home dot view, and that's going to be something really simple. It's a simple hello there with two different icons at the beginning and at the end. That's it, and everything is going to be bouncing. That's everything that I'm doing here. I already handled citing outside that. So saying that, that means that our application.view should change a little bit. We need to use the empty home, should be here, and we actually need to import in our script setup the authentication that is authenticated, and we can actually let's put it over here like this. We can do a be if is authenticated, is not, we use the other one, be else. There you go. So when I'm authenticated, I can see my home. If I click logout, I can see that hello there, right? So we have the template for that, nothing is showing, and when we do the login, we change the view to our home directory. Perfect. So just with that, let me add everything and add it Firebase authentication. Cool. So the last step will be actually add the home, and that will be a little more tricky, let's say like that, to implement. So for this home, I want to have a div here, and of course, with every div that I'm actually using, this should have a class of container, but now will be a grid, right? And that grid will have a gap of 4, and it will be MX auto, so we have everything centered. We're going to be adding a margin on the y-axis of 4, and text is going to be center. And in our large experience, we are going to have 2 columns. So in the smaller we have 1 column, and the bigger we have 2 columns. That's pretty much what we're saying here, right? After that, inside here, what I want to have is some kind of card that I don't have yet, so let me actually just create it. Default movie card. Well, let's actually just card. Dot view. Let's do a template. Card. This is going to be the little card element. And in our home directory, we're going to be calling that one card. So we have the card right there. Perfect. And we can do a simple before and index in 10, for example, and let's keep the index as the key. So we have 10 different cards there. Probably is not the best way to have the card. Let's actually have like a kind of div element and h1 card. There you go. So we have the different cards there, and we have 5 of them right now. That's the way they're actually working. Cool. Oops. So now that we actually see that we're able to pull up these cards, what I want to have after the cards is something pretty cool. So, well, let's actually work with the card section for now. Let's go to the card. What we can do on the card is, and that's, I believe, the biggest piece between that one and the comments, but for now, let's actually just do the card. So what I want to add actually is a div element. That's going to be full and maximum with full in large with and flex over there. And let's actually, I believe we can actually do this for now. And let's have an image. And for that image, let's actually look for image placeholder. And let's get something like this. So this image placeholder is used for development purposes. We can have something like that. Let me remove this section. I don't need it. So it will be a movie poster. And let's make this 200 by 400. Okay. So we have that. Let's mimic that. That's actually going to be our poster. Cool. And after that one, we're going to have a div element. This div element will have different sections, and we're actually going to add a bunch of those. So let me just copy those over. Paste it right there. So everything inside this is going to be a flex column, justify between with a padding of 4, leading normal, background white. Let's actually call it just cool gray 100. Border on the bottom, border 1, border the right, border gray 400. Let's actually call this to cool gray. Rounded, let's call it a little bit like this. Cool gray. I like that one a little more better. Okay. Yeah, we have that one right there. So the image here is solid, but the right had that little rounded elements in there. Cool. Inside this div, and let me just copy the rest for now. We have this section, and here let's actually call movie title, and we call that later, and movie overview. The overview, let's actually call lorem, so we can put like random text in there. We have the movie title and like the description of the movie we have. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here. Cool. And that's possible because we have the flex column of the elements. Okay. What else we can actually use? I can add another element that will go pretty much to the bottom. I'm going to be after this. And let's remove this for now. Let's actually put like a tree in there. And I will show you that in a minute. Let's remove this for now. And that should be enough. So what I'm adding is the like button and the comment button. And those likes are going to be right there on the bottom. Yeah. I think those are enough. Maybe the poster is too big. Let's change the size to 300. Yeah, probably better. And let's add a second lorem. We have two lorems in there. Oops. We have two lorem in there. And I want to show you something extra that I did. So one of the plugins that I installed allow me to actually put line clamp. And line clamp, what it's going to do is just add in a clamp of 6 lines to the text. I mean that everything that is bigger than 6 lines, just have that little where there, so we can actually keep some kind of consistency in the size. Let's say it like that. It's not perfect, but it's actually doing the work. And I believe that should be enough. Yes. This pretty much the layout that I wanted, and I want the blue and red, and yeah, perfect. One more thing to add should be, and this is the card section, right? So let's actually go to home. So after the card, what I want to do now is I want to add my the pagination. Let's add a div there, and this div will have 3 different divs. Can I do this? I don't know. No. So here's going to be a button into pretty much previous. Then we have a page tag that's going to say page 1 of, I don't know, something. And it's actually going to be inside another div. And we have a last div with another button that I will say next. So we have those one right here. Previews, next, and this. Yeah. So let's change the classes of the button a little bit. So it's going to do that little preview next. Yeah, it works somehow. Actually, instead of preview, let's do minus. Next, let's do plus. Yeah, minus and plus. Should work. Let's add some padding to the paragraph. Let's put a text gray. Yeah, and now let's actually put everything here in the middle. So for that, we need to go to this main div, and let's do a simple flex, item center. Then we use justify center. Let's add a margin bottom of 4 because we have a margin. This one have a margin J of 4, so let's actually add that margin to the bottom. And let's separate all the elements a little bit on the X axis for 2. Yeah, we have something like that. So I believe we have the full layout in under an hour. That was pretty cool. So what we achieved here is having the look and feel of the app or the skeleton somehow with the authentication working. I don't have it multiple pages. I'm not going to do that. I don't work with the router right now, but I believe it should be enough. Probably the extra thing that we can use is actually that little pop-up for the comments. Let's actually add it one. I think it's important. So for that, we need to get back to the card. And let me add components, new ones. Let's call this one comments dot view, and let's do template comments. Let's actually start styling those a little bit. It's going to be a little bit tricky. let me copy the whole template and I will guide you where I'm actually putting those in there. So for now, I have a big div that's going to be fixed. That means it's going to stay there. Inset 00, that means that's going to be across all the boards. It's going to be on top of everything. I put an ugly background right for now. Let's keep it the red thing. So let me delete the style for the background URL. Actually, no, let's keep this one. What we can do here is that actually background URL, let's use the style dynamic. It's going to be dynamic later. But let's actually use the image placeholder. And let's, oh, come on. Let's actually select all this. And the URL should be something like this. Yeah, and let's do 1920 by 180. And let's call it background movies DB plus background plus image. And that should be enough. We're going to have a button that will emit a close. And that button is going to be absolute. It's going to be on the right, on the corner. So we actually put a left tree and top tree. I mean that this button is going to be like around here, and it's a simple X, as you can see it. And then we have an element, and let's actually call this a simple movie title, right? Text and username. I'm getting the text and username from message. Let's for now let's do n in 10. I don't know. And the index is going to be index. And let's call this to have comment section. And let's call it here who username. And I will show you that in a minute. And input we need to change. Let's actually remove those. We don't need those right now. We just need the layout. Oh, the only tricky part will be the emit for the close. Let's actually specify that. I know that doesn't make that much sense right now, but this is a big page, right? That's going to have that placeholder image on the background. Then we have that little button there, and then we have on the middle the movie title. And then we're going to go to the comment section and we're going to install different comments here, right? And then we just put the username at the end, at the bottom right. Pretty much that's why we have this. And we have an input box. We added a new comment with some layout there. That's it. That is not that actually that big of a deal. Let's actually make this a little shorter. Let's actually do 3 to show that in a bit. So in order to call it, what we need to do here, this one will actually open it, and because it's going to be another component, that component will emit something. So the actually handling will be, or the toggle somehow, it will be right here in the comments in the card section. So that's why we are going to emit a close. So in order the card knows that that message, that comment section needs to be closed. So let's handle that a little bit. And let me import something from a script, setup, and let's from view, let's import define emit, I believe. And let's do a simple define emit, going to be for the close element. And that's it. And we will emit the close in here. Cool. Let's go back to the card, and we can actually call at the end. We can actually call the comments. If I do it like that, let's see what happened. There you go. We have the comment section that's really big, right? It's on top of everything. We have the little message here. We have the title. This is part of the background, movie database background image. And the new comment is right here, right? So what we need to do is we need to call it the correct way. Right now we will not call it, we don't have that logic to show or to hide. And this will actually emit the close that will make that one to show and hide. So let's get back here and let's do in my cart element. Let's do the script setup. And let's actually use view for this. And I believe we have, well, let me check my notes. Sorry for that. Let me do a ifd. And from use core, we're going to import the use toggle. We used that before. So pretty cool, give it the value and give it like a function to change that value. And it's pretty neat. And let's call that just to be as a simple value and toggle, and it's going to be false by default. So this one will be a simple if value. It is actually existing, will show. So by default it's false. That means that it's not showing right there. Perfect. What we're going to do with this button over here, whenever we click it, we're going to toggle. That means if I open this one, I get that. Perfect. Now let's get rid of this. So we have that little button to actually do what it's supposed to. So because this comments is actually meeting a close event, what we need to do is as simple as when this expose are closed, do the toggle again. So that will allow us to click it here and close it and open it here. And we have the little, well, full screen comment section for every movie. Okay, yeah, almost an hour. So let's actually finish. Let's drop out now. Let's put everything there. Home layout. And let's finish the video right now. In the next video, what I want to do is actually show you how to do the movie database connection through an API and how to consume it and start putting things here. What we're going to pull up is going to be the poster, it's going to be the title, the overview, and when we open this one, I want to send. They have already some kind of background image for every movie, so I want to put that one right here, and it will be pretty cool. So I hope that you like it. Any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Regarding the code, remember I always put it in the comments or put it available to you. Happy coding, everybody.